Hello. I've made my feelings on competing on price very clear over the years. I think competing on price is a miserable place to be, a race to the bottom, and I'm much happier working with customers who have a really decent profit margin priced into their businesses. But what happens if you look at your business and realise that you are just too cheap? Well, today I've got 3 ways that I think you can be very clever with your pricing without necessarily increasing the prices on your tariff. Welcome. I've been coaching salons for some years now, and one of the questions that I get again and again is, what do I do about my prices? People have this fear around increasing their prices. They're so concerned that their customers are price sensitive and they're just going to go elsewhere. That fear is actually increasing with the number of salons that we have, and I've said for a long time that there are just too many salons around and more salons opening every day. So that price sensitivity in my clients' minds is getting stronger and stronger. I don't necessarily think they're right, but that's okay. I want to talk to you today assuming that you're not up for increasing your prices. My name is Phil Jackson. I'm the founder of Build Your Salon, and I've made it my life's work to bring you the tools you need to master, to build a business you enjoy. So why would you not want to increase your prices? Well, I had this situation just a month ago with one of my coaching clients. We were sat down doing her financial analysis and had a really good look at what she was charging for her services, and it became clear very quickly that there was not enough profit to push back into the business to expand in the way that my client is planning. The problem was she had had a price increase the month before. So going back and re-increasing those prices, she did not feel was an option. Now, I've always said that customers are much less price sensitive than you think. I think if you have a customer who is happy with your level of service, if you're delivering an excellent client experience, that the chances of her leaving are always much less than you might suppose. But I also know that we're going to annoy an awful lot of people, and she had some resistance around the last price increase. We're going to really annoy people if we increase prices for a second time very quickly. So we got our thinking caps on and we tried to come up with some ways where we can increase the average bill without necessarily increasing the advertised tariff price. And the first way that I want to share with you is we went through the entire price card and came up with deluxe versions of the services that she was already carrying out. Now, she'd already done some work around nails, so she already had luxury packages for manicures and pedicures, and we already had a deluxe tan in there as well, so she had 2 brands of tan. So I made her take the time to go back through that price card, pick apart every service and figure out how many deluxe versions of existing services she could have. And what that meant was that we had to then go back and train the team so that they're consistently offering those upgrades. And yes, sometimes they're taking a slightly longer time, but the increase in profit was actually quite noticeable on those services. So take the time now, go back through your price card, have a look at everything on there, and I mean everything, don't make any assumptions, and ask yourself, what would a deluxe version of this service look like? What would I need to build in? Well, how can I provide extra value? Does it need to be a slightly longer service where I give over a little bit more time so that it feels more relaxing, more of a deluxe experience? Or the opposite, there are some customers who will pay a premium for an express version of a treatment because they just don't have the time to sit in a hairdressing chair for an hour. They want to be in and out in 35 minutes. So there are ways that we can increase the value to a customer without increasing our costs overall. The second thing that we did was to go through and look at timings. If there are services that your team are consistently finishing slightly early, I strongly suggest that you go through and look at the timings that you're allocating on your booking system. I don't think it's a terribly popular move with your team. I will be really honest with you. The chances of them clapping their hands with glee at having to see more customers in a day is very, very slight, I'm afraid. But if you can sell it to them in terms of increased productivity, linking it to increased profit for the salon, which means increased commission for them, then there is a chance that they will embrace it. And sometimes, to be honest with you, they're kind of kicking around, getting a little bit bored, waiting for the next client. So sometimes we have therapists or stylists who just like back-to-back clients and they like to be really busy. So if we can't increase the amount that we're charging per hour, maybe we just need to get more services done in an hour. Even shaving 5 minutes off a service over a week, over a month, over a year, do the sums. Figure out how many more extra clients you could get through the door. It increases your profit per hour and takes away a little bit of the pressure around increasing our prices. And the final way to get the price per hour back in balance with our costs is to have a really close look at who is carrying out which services. Let me explain. This works better if you have tiered pricing in your salon, and I've already done a broadcast around tiered pricing, so check out the link below and I will link to that blog in there so that you can go back and have a look at tiered pricing. If you don't have tiered pricing in your salon now, you are leaving money on the table, and by the end of that blog I really hope to have convinced you to get tiered pricing in. But if you have people who are more expensive, so people that have been with you for a number of years or contribute a lot to the business, so you've increased their basic pay, sometimes it makes sense to go back through and remove the very low value services from their availability. So if you have a senior therapist or an expert therapist and they're still carrying out 15-minute brow waxing treatments, I'm afraid it's probably not the best use of the time. By taking away those cheaper treatments, pushing those onto the cheaper members of your team, we can get the balance back in for the cost versus the amount that we're generating per hour. I hope that makes sense. But basically what we want is the more expensive members of the team carrying out the more expensive services. That way we can get away from some pressure on our pricing. There's no need then to increase the prices on those cheaper services. I hope that's been useful to you. 3 ways that we can get more money without increasing our tariff rate. Of course, I would much prefer that you go back to your business, and if you're too cheap, whack the prices up. Be bold, market your way through it, take the little bit of sting and that bit of resistance from some of your slightly more price sensitive customers and get more profit in the till. But if not, I hope that has been useful to you. If it has, don't forget to hit subscribe. I do a broadcast like this every single week, and I would hate you to miss out on the content that I'm sharing. For a more personalised approach, I take on 20 coaching clients per year. phil@buildyoursalon.com. Reach out to me, let's have a conversation. If you've already subscribed, I will see you again next week. Take care.